The semi-finals. Is there a feeling of relief that you were able to go through over the two legs?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is we are in the semi-finals and we fight to play one European competition, the finals. So this is a good point. And then for sure we want to win all the games. I think today we have a bit of the same way that the last game. We create chances, we don't score, then we concede easy goals. But we are in the most important moment of the season. So we need to stay together. We need to keep going, work hard, because I think on Sunday we have an important game, so we need to fight for the 3 points.
We expected Legia to come out fighting this evening. What were your thoughts after they scored that second goal?
Well, I think we concede 2 easy goals again, but we cannot speak about this. We cannot put excuses. I think we are Chelsea and we want to win all the games, but now we work hard all the season, so now we need to stay together. We know we have more games to play. We can finish in Champions League position, and then we can play a European competition. So I think this is the most important thing. Now is not time to complain. For sure, it's not a good night for us, but the most important thing is we have the opportunity to play a semi-finals.
6 goals for you now. It was almost 7. You'll be disappointed to see that one chalked off.
Yeah, well, I try to help the team in the way that I can. This season I have the opportunity to score goals, so I'm happy for this, but the same that we say, I think I prefer win the games than score goals. But yeah, the most important thing is now for the good thing is, like, in 3 days we play another game, so I think this is a good thing. We need to win these 3 points because we want to play next season champions.
Marc Cucurella there, almost getting a second, but had it ruled off. He spoke about Champions League football there. Clearly they want to play Champions League football, so why isn't the want relating when they play a game?
I don't know. I mean, that's as lacklustre a performance as I've seen from this group of players. Like, I still believe in the quality. Like, you know, I'm in here, I'm criticising them tonight, and then you can't do anything else but from criticise that performance at home. But I believe in the group of players' talent. It's the application from now to the end of the season has to be spot on, because you have to be able to. If you want to go to a big club, you've got to be able to play under pressure.
Yeah.
It ain't like when you're playing somewhere else and you can win a game, you can lose a game. The stakes are not as high. The Chelsea fans are very, very demanding, and it's because they've been used to having a steady diet of success, of winning trophies for over 2 decades now, right at the top table of European and English football. So the players have to find a way between now and the end of the season and applying themselves to deliver under pressure. Because if they go to Fulham at the weekend and they go a goal behind, it's going to get cranked up another notch.
So who drives that then? Where does that come from? Why is there nobody out there taking these games by the scruff of the neck and going for it?
That's it. Well, I mean, you look at you can go through that team sheet and you can screen and say, what leaders are there? You know, who is there when things aren't going great? Who's putting like you know a few players in, just going, right, listen, for the next 5 or 10, we are going to keep it tight, keep it solid. Or listen, wingers, we're going to get the ball to you. Let's attack. Strikers, let's do your role. It starts from everyone. It starts from the manager. It starts from the players. And it's hard. It's very, very difficult. There's only a few players in world football that can turn it on and off like a tap from game to game. These group of players can't do that individually and collectively. They can't just go, we'll have a night off tonight, you know, we'll just get through into the next round and then, you know, we'll come back against Fulham, because Fulham are at it. They want to get into Europe. You know, they're having a great season. So every team now in the Premier League has got something to fight for, position-wise, or it's relegation or safety or getting into Europe. So they're all tough games.
Do you know what? If you look at that group, they're young. Do you know, it's the policy of the club. They're going to youth. I mean, I feel like a broken record of saying you need experience, but also, if you rewind 2, 3, 4 years and you think of the young group of players that Chelsea had, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tomori, plus you've Reece James, few of the others that come to me in a moment, and you think if you look at all the successful teams over the last 2, 3 decades, they always had a stable diet of either players who've come through the academy or English players who understand the culture, understand the club. Because it's in moments like these, and I think if them group of players would have been there now, sort of coming into their mid-20s, leaders, you know, they don't all have to be starters. No. You know, they don't all have to be like, we're going to make, you know, you're my main guy. They will contribute because they're all good players. But you have that group of players in there, that will change the dynamic in a game like this, you know, because it's all a bit put together a little bit here and 100%. I know a team when that was a mindset tonight. The team didn't play that well because they're so much better than that. But they have to find a way, the club and the manager, and they have to find a way of turning these players into leaders. That's the only option now because I don't think they'll bring in senior players or they'll go change course. They seem to be going down this way. So you need to find a way of finding leaders amongst these players.
Well, we'll be interested to hear what Enzo Moreira's Chelsea performance tonight. There's not really another way to put it, is there?
No. Listen, standards drop way below the standards that this group of players have been, particularly in this competition. I thought from the start they didn't look at it. The ball was not moving quick enough. There wasn't enough energy in the press. And they look like a team just waiting for the game to finish and to be won. But that, you cannot do. You have to play every game, every moment. You have to have energy, and there was no energy tonight. So I worry for the weekend, Bex. I really do, because Fulham, like I said, I think we get to the stage of the season where they're so crucial, and Fulham's a notoriously a difficult place for Chelsea to go. So I'm concerned.
I'm just looking at that this evening, and I'm just thinking, if it was me in that position, and I played in European football before, and you want to play every game. Like, you want to say to the manager, I want to play every single game. So I'm looking at the midfield players tonight. I'm thinking, right, who's dropping off? Who's dropping deep? Who's sort of getting the ball, dictating the tempo? Like, your wide men, who's going to sort of darting behind, come short, strikers? Who's looks like they really mean like to stake a claim in that team? I didn't really see it from anyone tonight, and that's the most disappointing thing for Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's almost like the bar was set early on because Jorgensen rotated back into the squad tonight. Sanchez obviously been criticised, he was out. But giving away a penalty in the early stages in the manner that the penalty happens.
Yeah, when you change the goalkeeper as a manager, you're praying that they come in and have a good game because you've upset your number one, and now your number two is going to come in, and then his confidence is going to take a hit as well, you know. And early on in the game, this is really early in the game. You want him to, whatever action you've got to do as a goalkeeper, it'd be a catch, a pass back, you want to do it well. He's come out, made a bad mistake. And here, again, I felt he should have done better. It's a poor penalty, actually. It's a great height. He gets a full hand on it, and you have to, you know, if he pops that away, it's a different story. But, I think it was a terrible, terrible start for Jorgensen and for Chelsea.
That kind of set the tone, didn't it, really? I mean, they worked their way back in the game, and they sort of created chances, got a goal, but that really was sort of the underbelly of the performance tonight. And like I said there, as an individual, you want to stake a claim, and you know, you can't really say that anyone done that.
Well, we picked him out pre-match. Morishita says Chelsea could have been 2-0 down in that first half because he had a brilliant chance where he got in behind.
Yeah, he did. I mean, look, again, the break in Chelsea, that's not good enough. You're not getting close. Look at the Chelsea players running backwards there. You know, unacceptable in terms of like your recovery runs and what you're doing, like the basics of the game, you know, and that could have been 2-0. You know, and listen, I hate doing this job when you have to criticise players, but when it's, you know, that's just not good enough. If you're going to play for Chelsea, and if I'm Enzo and I'm standing there in front of them, that clip is one that I would use. But you cannot be caught on the counter-attack that early in the game by a team like this. They didn't have any particular pace. That was just, do you want to run back, hurt, and put the tackles in?
Well, I didn't think we'd be saying this, but goal machine Marc Cucurella this season for Chelsea did manage to find an equaliser. Was from close range, but it started at the back, which is interesting since we've had this conversation about the long balls and playing out from the back.
Yeah. Look, sometimes you've got to play with patience, and
but there's no pressure on this side.
No, but Legia get back into into a position, and
out the press.
And it's just about getting on the ball, trying to find something that's going to happen. And this is exactly what you want from your wide man in Sancho. You know, just delay. Doesn't matter if they're double up or not. Can you get into the box and can you get a good delivery in? Hopefully it gets onto one of your teammates. The thing with Chelsea in these two, both legs, they've had bodies in the box. Thankfully, that one there falls to Cucurella, calmness personified, just to slap it in the back of the net.
Yeah, assist for Sancho there, but then Steve Capaldi for Legia Warsaw stepping up. Did we see this one coming?
There were signs, weren't there? There were signs that it was going to happen. I think set-piece-wise, you know, again, we see it last night for Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. On that second ball, when you've got zonals, when it's the second ball, first contact you can deal with. Look, Reece James gets blocked off here. There's the goal scorer. If you look at him there, look, he gets blocked off. He loses his man. But when you win the second ball, 5 Chelsea players not picking up anyone. You're zonal first. Yeah, as soon as once it goes over your head, go and pick up a man. But it was one of them nights where they just seemed like they was waiting for someone else to do it.
I think that's where it was difficult because they're zonal. So I always prefer from a set piece from a corner that you use man marking, and until that ball got cleared, my man doesn't score. That was always my motto. My man doesn't score. I'm holding him to the very, very end until the goalkeeper's got it. It's gone out for a goal kick or it's been cleared. When it's zonal, it's hard to grab hold of someone. So you're sort of searching around, and if someone runs off you, it's they're going that way, and you're still looking around, and they obviously tap it.
The thing with zonal marking is like you said, like you've got a responsibility if the ball comes into your zone. Yeah. Once the ball goes over your head, then you have to be a little bit of you have to use your initiative and pick up someone close to you, and none of them did that there. Yeah. So that's the problem with that.
All right. Well, we've seen his goal. Let's hear from Mark Cucurella. He is speaking to Natalie Quirk.
Reece, you go through to the semi-finals, but defeat on the night in a game you were expected to win comfortably. What is the feeling in the dressing room after that?
Probably what you expect, disappointment. As you said, it was a game we should have won, and something we failed to do tonight. But as you mentioned, we qualified. We advanced in the competition to the semi-final, but no, it was a poor performance from the team today.
What did you put it down to?
It's hard to put it down to one thing. I think we had a 3-0 lead. Maybe that played, a part in taking our foot off the gas. But we have no excuses.
Yeah, you reiterated how important it was to stay focused right from the word go. How different were Legia tonight?
No, I think the game was always going to be different. It was the second leg away from home. They have nothing to lose. And they showed that tonight. They made it tough for us, and we didn't step up.
We've heard the manager saying he's seen proof of progress in this team and what you're doing. What are you seeing in games? What are you seeing in training that gives you the belief that Chelsea can achieve their goals this season?
No, for sure. We are making progress. Today, that was for sure not progress. If anything, a step back. And yeah, maybe we, disrespected the competition today, but this is football for you, and if you don't prepare right, you'll pay.
How do you make sure that this doesn't upset the mindset going forward then?
No, of course it's going to have an effect on, the mindset going forward. It's going to be in the back of people's heads that, we lost when we shouldn't have lost. But we need to, put it behind us. We have another game on Sunday that is a must-win game, so we can't dwell on this too long. We need to regroup, stay strong, and keep pushing for our goals.
We heard a few boos again at the final whistle there. What would your message be to the fans?
I understand the frustration, to be honest. I understand fans come to games to see excitement, to see goals. Today we were frustrating to watch. I know we remain focused, and we still stick together, and look forward to achieving what we want together.
I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
I think if you're a Chelsea manager, and there's always an element of pressure. Traditionally over the last 20 years, you're probably 5 or 6 games from losing the job if things don't go well. So in that sense, he is. This is a new regime. They've changed managers a lot, but at the start of the season, it was, we're going to stick. This is our guy. We're going to stick with him. And I think one thing I think he dealt with the early part of the season really well. Yeah. I really do. And I think since after Christmas, the results haven't gone quite as well. So I think it's crucial. I think he has to get the team in the Champions League.
Does that buy you credit, though, if you've started well? Has he got a little bit of credit in the bank, Steve, that may well run out if they don't make Champions League?
Yeah, I think
put you on the spot here, sorry.
No, it's been a long time since Chelsea qualified for the Champions League in the top 4. It was always going to be a big ask for me at the start of the season in terms of the players that was there, the players that was bought. It was a young squad, the dynamics that they were shifting to. Joe's right, he was brave in terms of, right, these are my numbers, these are my players, the rest of you, it is what it is, try and find yourself new clubs. So the dynamics of the process has changed. I think they was flying the first half of the season. Maybe was it false pretenses of where they were compared to where they are sitting in terms of being this year. I think it's a big ask. You look at them teams there, and Newcastle and Aston Villa have really ruffled some feathers, as have Nottingham Forest, in terms of being in that top 7. It's a huge ask for me for them to get in there.
You even think Aston Villa with I know they've just gone out the Champions League, but what a performance against PSG.
At the run, look at the run that they're on. Yeah, there's a lot of confidence elsewhere. Look, even if they win this competition in Europe at a canter, let's say, it still doesn't hide the fact that Champions League football, it has to be where this club needs to be. Is it the step in the right directions? Do the owners see it that way? There's always pressure, but I don't know. Champions League is going to be tough for them in the league.
Oh, because they want to be in it, but then they want to compete at it as well. So they're two different things. All right, let's get some.
Can't come out after a game and be upbeat, but that's just for me the story of Chelsea. It feels like we're really going in on them here, but it's sort of like they need to, because it's just stop-start. Like that interview there should be after the game. They should have had a good performance tonight. They should have won the game comfortably. They should have come out the traps. It should have been, a good night at Stamford Bridge. They should be coming out going, done well tonight. We got through to the next round. Now we gear on for the big game on Saturday on the weekend. But again, you feel like now, Cole, we've been there. That training tomorrow, people come in. It's like you need to pick up again, and it's just it feels like it's a bit of a groundhog day. It's a bit hard, whereas it shouldn't be like that with this group of players.
Chelsea were dominant on the ball, has to be said. It wasn't all Legia Warszawa, but they were just very wasteful as well in front of goal. Yeah, I
thought Reece was honest there, and Sid's is right, because we feel like we're going in on them and a little bit, but it's not the first time. It's not unusual. It's pattern, like he said. It's been going and going and going, and it's very difficult for them to make the turn round. Something telling, he said. I think he said something along the lines of, if you don't prepare, you get punished. I mean, I don't want to read into that what he's saying. I think Reece first of all, I think he's a superb player. He's got a very difficult job now as Chelsea captain, because he's the one who's coming out having to front it. It's just, again, I keep coming back to it, I'm a broken record. I think experienced players into this group, when you're Chelsea, if Chelsea got 2 or 3 experienced players, I mentioned Kevin De Bruyne on a free transfer. Thomas Muller, we watched last night, free transfer. You can't tell me that these boys, they wouldn't even spike their interest to come to Chelsea, play for this great club, and for 2 years, help this young group of players. You won't have to play 60 games. I'm just trying to think of solutions, because my kids go to watch Chelsea, so I'm not one of these ex-players that's there sitting there thinking, I don't want them to. I want them to win everything, win every game. I want my kids to be happy. Of course I do. But I'm just trying to find solutions, and the only thing I keep coming back to is experienced players, good characters who help these young lads get to the levels that they can all come. Because there's so much talent in the squad.
Well, let's have a look there. Their next 6. That is a difficult run-in. You've got to play Liverpool, Newcastle, Forest. Manchester United, Everton, they've all got Everton have got a run at the minute.
There's a story around every one of them. I hope Liverpool have won the title by May the 4th at home. I don't know what the situation is with that. Fulham away, I think that's the crucial game. Newcastle and Forest speak for themselves. We don't know what Manchester United are going to be on May the 16th. We don't know where the situation with the club is. But that's a difficult run-in. The only thing that's giving me hope, Sid, is that Villa and Newcastle, and they're all sort of playing each other. So, you might have to win 4 of them games.
That run of fixture is as hard as there is. But if they get through that and they get in the Champions League, then it's all part of the journey. And you've got to remember, this is all part of the journey and the process with this group of players, whether it's starting 11 or the squad or players that's going to come in, because we know the process of what Chelsea are doing. But if they get through that with that squad of players and they qualify for Champions League.
For Maresca, is it sort of Champions League or bust? Do you think he'll be in the dugout next season?
I think that they'd want to keep him with all the chopping and changing that's been there in recent seasons. You need continuity. You need to have some kind of substance there that's going to drive the players. I think if they don't get Champions League, I think it could be someone new.
Yeah. Well, I think the people who are going to be making decisions on people. First of all, let's see what happens with the season. But Enzo come in with a mandate to develop players. We don't know what the owners' ideas are of where the line is, whether it is Champions League or not, or whether there's some data suggesting somewhere that they've improved. I'm sure they have, because last year was terrible. You cannot keep changing the coaches all the time. You know, you've seen what club has it been a success? I don't know. So they need to stick with somebody at some point, and then let's get these 6 games and see where we're at.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. And